Hit go live. Yeah. All right, I am live right now. Okay, we're live. We're live. Hello, welcome to Quantum Queen Television. I know it's a little bit delayed. We've got the puppies that are going to be, you probably hear the puppies right now. And I just want to say hello to everyone that is joining. Today, we are going to talk about your superpower. And oftentimes, when we are talking about quantum manifestation or when we're entrepreneurs, when we are setting up businesses, we forget about our superpower. We forget about there's a combination of two together that when we put these two powers together, it will change your world. So, yes, hello, daughter of Athena and Apollo. Hey, welcome, welcome. So, what I want to talk to you today is about your superpower. And in the Alliance world, I like to talk about power from four different perspectives. Let me know if you've heard about this. So, there's four different types of power. How many of you have heard of willpower? Um, willpower, right? Willpower is the thing that we use, the gumption of like, I'm gonna figure this out, I'm gonna get it done, moving like this is my willpower, I'm gonna figure it out kind of deal, right? So that's one sort of power that you do have access to. There's another sort of power that we are, as especially entrepreneurs, but definitely humans, fall victim to, and it's circumstantial power. How many of you have heard about circumstantial power? Circumstantial power is where we give our power away to the circumstances. So we decide how happy we are based on the circumstances. We decide what actions we take based on what's happening in our 3D world in front of us. We allow our mood, we allow our all of this to be taken back and forth based on circumstantial power. We decide how happy we get to be, right? Oh my goodness, so many people are joining my masterclass. I get to be happy today, right? Or, oh, nobody joined my masterclass. I'm going to be mad, right? So that's circumstantial power. And it's very up and down, very up and down, very up and down. Let's see. Yes, I see. Yes, I see. I'm guilty of this. And everyone is. Everyone is. We are humans in the human world. And it's common that we allow the 3D reality to decide, how we feel or how we're going to move about our day. It's very reactive to the 3D versus responsive. Okay. What other powers? There's two more, and these are the two that make up your super power. Okay. The next one is your personal power. Personal power is when we don't allow circumstances to decide how we feel, when we allow ourselves to respond versus react to situations and circumstances. Personal power is necessary when we're talking about quantum leaping, when we're talking about collapsing time, when we're talking about creating something that 99% of the world is not doing. When you are doing things that the majority of the world are not doing, guess what? You are going to need some personal power. You are going to have to make decisions that the majority of the world aren't making, right? What are the three things that I say are you need for quantum leaps? The three C's, right? What is it? You got to let go of control, you got to let go of common sense, and then you have to let go of comfort. These are three things that the world, the 99%, the people that aren't entrepreneurs, that aren't trying to do something that's illogical, that they've only created themselves. These are three things that they hold on to for dear life: control, common sense, and trying to be comfortable in everything. Discomfort makes them run. But when you're in your personal power, discomfort doesn't make you run. When you're in your personal power, fear is a green light. But there's one thing about personal power is that it's human, right? It's within our human capabilities. It's within our own abilities to decide what we get to do, how we get to do it, but it is still very limited. Personal power is powerful. You can make a lot of money using your personal power. You can be very successful using your personal power, but it's still really limited. How many of you guys understand that? Like personal power is amazing. I love it, but it's still very limited. So that makes up the P in superpower. What makes up the S? The S is your spiritual power. Spiritual power is the power that's within us. It's the power that's from, within us, all around us. It's source power. It's the power in the unknown and the unexpected, which is where quantum leaps lie. It's the power that's beyond the how, because the how gets to be determined by something that we would never know as humans. And when you can combine these two together, you are unstoppable. Because your brain might say, well, how is that going to happen? And you get to say, you know what? I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part as the boots on the ground human. I'm doing my part that's within my personal power. I'm taking the steps that I get to take. And I don't know how spiritual power is going to show up here. I don't know how God, universe, the unseen forces, I don't know what amazing miracles and manifestations are happening in that 90% of the manifestation that I can't see. I'm going to do my part, and I'm going to trust that the spiritual world got me and that it's doing its part. Do you see how, like, when you combine these two, you are unstoppable. Unstoppable. Okay. So I'll give you a couple of scenarios and situations that I've experienced in my life that totally, like, I used to forget this. Like, I used to forget that there are times when I used to tap into that intuition, but also tap into that expanded higher piece of me, right? So if we think about what we're made up of, we have our bodies, right? And then internally, our inner being, which is the being that is connected to all that is, that knows all the answers, that knows all the things, that's omnipresent, that's within us and all around us, that's connected to all. And a lot of times we get so focused on doing our part, doing the personal power, taking the steps that we need to take, doing that. And we forget to ask for guidance, ask for help, ask for the support that gets to happen beyond what we know, beyond what we can see, beyond what we can taste and smell, beyond our senses. And so I'll tell you a recent story, and then I'll tell you some other stories, because I've been stepping into the superpower piece, my spiritual power, plus my personal power all my life. Like, this is just what I've always done. And the times when I forget to combine both of those together are the times when I get reminded real quick about what gets to shift and change. Let me know, have you ever tapped into your superpower? Have you ever decided, okay, I do my part, and God, universe, source, I'm trusting you to do your part. I'm trusting you to blow my mind. I'm trusting you to do the things that I could have never, ever, ever, ever imagined. So I'm going to give you some ideas of what this looks like. So I have had situations in, like, group containers where the energy just wasn't where I wanted it to be, right? It wasn't the way I desired it to be. And it's always a reflection of where I am and what gets to shift, right? And so what I get to do when there's these type of situations, I'm up early in the morning. I'm an early bird. And so I wake up early and I connect. I connect with myself. I connect with guidance. I connect with God. And I'm like, okay, universe, this is what's going on. This is how I would like things to shift. And I make specific statements on how I would like things to shift and how I want it to show up. And I send love, like, I cut the cords to the situation. I send love to that situation while I'm sending the energy back. I pull all of my energy back to me to fill up my cup, fill me up back to whole. And then I decide, like, this is just the way it's going to be, right? There's different processes and things that I do that I'm going to be sharing in Quantum Queen, which is, you guys know we have Quantum Queen, the Aligned Soul Experience, where there is a core course that I have. It's called Quantum Queen, which also used to be called, like, the Quantum Manifestation Academy. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of the specifics in what I do to do some of these rituals or these requests. And I get answers when I wake up. Like the next morning, things have shifted and changed. Um, I've had situations, it could be dating situations, it could be situations with friends and family where I do blow up the situation, shift it, and decide that it gets to be different, and then ask guidance to go do its job. I've had situations where I've decided to talk from my higher self to that other person's higher self from a space of love, but also from a space of this is what we get to do. This is how things get to be. And this is how you get to show up. And this is how I get to show up. And then woke up the next day and the person's in my DMs and they're shifting. They've shifted. That's how quickly things can change when you combine spiritual power with your personal power. And when you do all of this, what is the underlying feeling within all of this? Who can guess? The underlying frequency in all of this is love. That's why spiritual power works so fast, is because it's the underlying frequency of all of it. And when you are doing something from a space of love and you're doing it from a space of connection and you're doing it from a space of, okay, this situation is not feeling totally aligned with who I am and with who this person is and how they're showing up. And then what we get to do is we get to mix this up. We get to break up whatever's happening in this current reality. And I get to connect to them within the quantum, have conversation with their higher self and say, this is what we're going to do now. We're going to do this. This is how we're going to be. And this is how this container is going to flow. And I'm telling you, rapid transformation, rapid shifts. I'm going to give you an assignment. If you have something going on in your life that you're just like, this isn't feeling really good. I want you to tonight, maybe before bed, or even if you wake up in the middle of the night, whatever it is, I want you to imagine that scenario. First, cut the cords to it, cut the ties. Send all of the energy back to that scenario, that situation with love, and then pull your energy back, right? So you're a whole being, they're a whole being. And then what I want you to do is connect to your higher self and imagine that higher self of that situation, that person, that experience, and just have a heart to heart. And just say, this is what I'm seeing. This is where I would like this to go. And be open to hearing the other side of it, the other person's side. It might feel like you're imagining it. I'm telling you, it works. And then just really decide, okay, so now this is what we're going to do. This is what is going to happen going forward. This is what I decide, and this is what gets to happen. I am telling you, I have woken up to a message and someone saying specifically what I said back to me the next morning. And that whole situation is like everything just cleared up. This is an example of what we get to do when we are combining spiritual power plus our personal power together. So that's your assignment. If there's something and you're going to come back under this video and be like, oh my God, it changed that quickly. I've had clients where I had one client, she was in the midst of getting a divorce, but he didn't want to sign the papers. And she had traveled to where he was to get the papers. And she was living in another state and she needed to leave. She had a flight and she was like, I need these papers. And I was like, okay, this is what you're going to do. So this was the night before. First, she went and she just released, right? Because there was so much anger in that situation towards him, towards the whole thing. So we did the release screaming, like she did that to energetically just release so she could come back to a neutral space. In that, so that conversation could be the right conversation, right? So it could be a good conversation. So she released, we did that energetic release, that somatic release to just, right, get it out, scream, say all the things you wanted to say, all the mean things, all the things you're mad at, like, let's just get it out. Aim it all at the situation, like scream it out. She did it. So she did that. She did the line soul alchemy method, all of that. And then at night, I said, I want you to decide the way this gets to go. You get to say, you know what, this is what's going to happen, and have a conversation with that person. So she had a conversation and she was like, look, this is the way it's going to go down. We're complete. Thank you for your time together. Thank you for our time together. I appreciate you. Thank you. And we're complete. And so what you're going to do is you're going to sign these papers and you're going to leave them for me. And then we're done. And I wish you so much and wish you well. And then you go to sleep and go to sleep as it's done. Guess what? She woke up in another universe that next day because the papers were signed and they were sent in an envelope to her. And she calls me and she's like, I was like, yep, they are. Now go to your flight. We're good. It takes a piece, it takes a like a gumption of saying, you know what? I'm talking to this person. I'm talking to their higher self. They're going to get this message. It's done, and going to sleep and being done. She's like, the papers are signed. We're finished. We are complete. It was done. Let's see. Yes, I love this, having a conversation in the quantum space. It's so powerful, guys. You can do this with business as well. Your business is an entity. Your audience is an entity. Like, it's all energy. And when you realize this and you combine both of these together, oh my goodness, how things like open up for you. So I'll give you another situation. One of my other clients, she was having a situation and there was like it was her cousin, I think. Yeah, her cousin was dating this interesting lady. She was a therapist, but she was kind of, she had some issues. And so the therapist was jealous of my client when, like, that was her cousin. She wasn't dating, like, they were roommates, like, but the therapist was very jealous of her and like angry about the whole thing, right? And so she was like, I was like, the therapist was like causing all kind of problems in the situation. It was like ridiculous. And I was like, okay, I was like, you're done with that. That's not going to happen. This is what we're going to do. So she did the Aligned Soul Alchemy method so she could release any anger or whatever towards this therapist, because you're not going to go in the quantum space, have this conversation from anger and it work. No, it only works when you're coming from a loving space. Okay. And so she needed to do her Aligned Soul Alchemy. She needed to release. She needed to be like, okay. So then she was like, I'm done. So she told this lady, this is what you're going to do. This is how this is complete. I am not involved in this. You and my cousin, you guys can have this conversation, but I am out. And I wish you so much luck. I wish both of you so much luck. Like, I wish for you to heal this or do whatever you need to do, but you get to leave my name out of it. And I wish you so much luck. And so she did that. She did all the work that she needed to do. Boom, boom, boom. The next day I get a message and she's like, the woman is like, took me out of it. She's like, oh, it's not with you. My problem's not with you. It's with this other person. Basically verbatim saying exactly what she said that night. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Like, I am going woo here. We're going woo, 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 woo. But I'm just telling you how this can make such a difference in your business. It can make such a difference in your own personal power. You can have these conversations with yourself. Like, you could say, okay, how am I showing up for myself and my business? And then just take some time. I love doing it at night or in the middle of the night, because I always wake up at like 3 a.m. or something like that. And I feel like the veil is thinner. And so I like to have these type of conversations with myself in the middle of the night. And so in the middle of the night, I'll say, okay, this is how you're showing up. Let me cut the cords. Let me send love. Let me behold myself. Then let me talk to my higher self and say, okay, I'm going to blow up this situation, how I'm showing up in my business. I'm showing up. I'm deciding today from this moment on, I'm showing up as this person. I'm showing up with this energy. I'm allowing this to come in. I'm no longer available for this. This is what we're going to do. And I get to have those conversations and I wake up and that's who I am. Like, I feel it. It's a shift. It's a change. And then what did it take? The personal power of me making moves and being in that energy every single day throughout the day. But magic and miracles happen when you allow yourself to be in your superpower. When you allow yourself to bring in the spiritual power with your personal power, you are unstoppable. Unstoppable. Let me see. Let's see, Carrie says, oh, I'm going to do this for my divorce. Yes. And she says, I'm going to do this also with a friend who I'm sure misinterpreted me, but doesn't want to talk about it. At least I can be cleared up either way. Yes. And when you do it from a space of love, it is so healing. I had another situation a time ago, and it was my client wasn't really showing up and making the choices and decisions that she needed to make and showing up for herself. She was maybe in a space of like, what I want, like kind of that. And we blew up that situation. Like I blew it up into bits and pieces and just blew it up, allowed it to just be like, okay, that version we're moving away from. This is the version we're walking into. And then I heard her perspective. I listened with love because of course there are going to be perspectives. I'm heard, I'm this, I'm that. And the conversation I have is I understand you're hurt. I understand this didn't work out. I understand you misunderstood me or whatever it is. And then it's to say, and this is how you are showing up. This is how you are giving your power away. And this is what you get to do. And I've woken up the next day, a message from that person, and they've said exactly what I said. And they're like, and I'm going to show up for myself. I'm going to do the things that I need to do. I know that this is what I get to do. But you've got to come from love. And so, Carrie, if you're going to use this for the divorce, you've got to come from love. You've got to do your aligned soul alchemy process. You've got to do the situation, like you've got to decide that there are no more animosity, no more anger, no more, just none of the non-love emotions. You've got to heal those and decide that I'm just going to let it go. I know he was wrong. I know he's not the one. I know he did some things, and I know his family did some things to me, and I get it. It's over. Like I'm deciding to let that go. I'm deciding to blow up this situation. I'm deciding that it's no longer going to go this way. I'm deciding to see him in love, and I'm deciding to see myself in love, and deciding that this gets to be the best for both of us, and that we get to easily resolve this in a way that's going to be the way I want to resolve it, right? So the way you get to say, this is how we're going to resolve it, is you get to have the conversation and say, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I get to have the kids this. You get to have the kids this way. This is how much money you're going to pay or whatever, pay blah, blah, blah. My lawyer fees get to get paid, this, right? So you get to decide how you want it to go. I'm not saying you have to give up everything, but you're just coming from more of a space of love and deciding that this gets to be resolved. And it's extremely powerful. And there's so many other ways that you can use this. Like I said, with your business, you can use it with like conversations that you're going to have with your body. I've had clients that have felt ill, or they've had like situations where they feel like their body is failing them, and where they come back from a space of love and have this conversation with their bodies from their higher self perspective, and deciding what gets to happen now going forward from with their bodies, and how much more energy they get to have, how much more health they get to have, how this healing gets to happen a lot quicker, how they get to walk forward in a more empowered state. Are we all picking up what I'm putting down? This is some good stuff. I can't wait to put this on the podcast. Your superpower is huge. And when you can tap into that potent power that is not just your willpower, right? Where you don't allow circumstantial power to be the ruler of you, right? Where you're not saying that, being the victim to everything that's happening in 3D, you can be more successful than you could ever imagine, unexpected, unknown, illogical. That is what gets to be your norm. But it requires you to have faith in the spiritual. You have to, one of the biggest things, and I'm going to end with this and I'll read some of the comments, but one of the biggest things to remember when it comes to any kind of success, any kind of manifestation, any kind of thing that you're doing, illogical growth, blah, 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 the manifestation, the thing that you desire, the thing that you're like, that's coming up from you, that is a desire, it is 90 to 95% manifested before you start to see things in your physical world of it unfolding. And so when you can tap into the superpower, that means that you are allowing the majority of this manifestation that really is instant, but it's in the spiritual world. You are deciding that I'm going to do my part, right, with the personal power, but I'm also going to tap in and talk to guidance and talk to God and universe, sugar daddy, and allow source, this source power, this source energy to direct me on what I get to do in the personal thing, what's going to expedite it, or what are the things, the places that I need to go, the direction that I get to take. They work together, but you get to remember that 90 to 95% of it is happening in ways that you won't be able to see, smell, hear, touch, taste. And so you've got to trust that the S, the superpower, the S on the chest, the spiritual piece is being handled, and get out of the garage trying to manage it all and just decide, I said I wanted it. I decided to be the person who already has it. I'm taking steps with this, and it's already done. Let's see. Harry says, so I have to let go of wanting him to be punished for stealing from me. Yes, at this point, you're staying stuck in the situation and you're punishing yourself. Yes. Yes. You've got to, like, you guess what? Eventually his actions are going to be reflected back to him. He will receive whatever counter or whatever measures are going to happen, but they don't need to happen because you wished it upon him. They're going to happen to him because of his choices. So let that be whatever karma, whatever gets to happen to him. Don't be the one behind the karma, like trying to puppeteer the karma, because that only keeps you in the situation. Cut your ties, send his energy back, take yours back with love, decide how this situation gets to wrap up to your benefit, and walk away. Let's see. Definitely need more energy too. My energy has been drained from the divorce battle. Yes, and your energy is drained from the divorce battle is because you keep battling instead of deciding, okay, the divorce is happening. It gets to be done. It gets to be in my favor. And I'm going to cut the ties. I'm going to decide in the spiritual world how this works out, what's going to happen. I'm going to talk to our higher selves, because if you're talking higher self to higher self, then there's nothing but love in that exchange. His higher self knows what he's doing is like, his higher self isn't leading him to do those things. His higher self is like, oh my gosh, I love you so much, child, but Lord, like, we want to go this direction, right? And so when we remember that we're talking higher self to higher self, there's no anger and animosity there, because higher self to higher self, we're just both speaking love. We're on the same piece. And so then you get to say, this is what gets to happen. And you can allow, you know, the human to speak their side and feel like you're giving them, you know, their chance to vent or whatever. And then you also get to say, and now this is the way it gets to go. Let's see. He said, I love that is an S, because I will going back to this. It's my name starts with an S, and I'll get rid of that B. Okay, I love that. All right, so you know what your homework is. I want you to play with this spiritual power, the superpower aspect of it. Remember, you've got the personal power. You're going to do your part. You're going to take your steps. You're going to do your things. But think of a scenario and a situation that's in your life. And I want you to either before bed, you can do this. And I have a couple of procedures and things that I do before bed. Or if you wake up in the middle of the night, you can do it in the middle of the night. But before bed, you can just look at and tap into whatever the situation is that you would love to shift and change into your favor. And I want you to first do, you can do, those of you, I see a lot of duchesses and queens. If you're a part of the Be Collective, you can do the Aligned Soul Alchemy process, which is going to make you, you know, get you to a neutral space where this is involved. If you're not a part of the Be Collective or Quantum Queen, then what you would do is just get to a space where you release any pent up energy, anger, sadness, whatever about this situation, so that you can come in from a neutral space. When you come in from a neutral space, then you can blow up the situation. You can decide that that's going to go differently. You can have those conversations, higher self to higher self. You can have those spiritual conversations with the, you can just have those conversations so that it's from a loving place, not from a place of the anger, the upset. You can never change a situation from the energy from which the situation was created. That's why a lot of, like when we were battling and pushing against a situation and it's so bad, it's so wrong, we're so angry, that's understandable. I get it. But that situation usually doesn't change from there. It just blows up and becomes more volatile. When you can release the energy from like the anger and that peace and look at it from a more neutral space, not neutral as in it's okay, neutral from, you know what, it is what it is. This is what's going on. And this is how I would like it to be changed. This is how I would love it for it to shift. You can see where things are shifting a lot quicker. And then when you infuse that with love, and you can love yourself and love, you know, the people involved, and you can love, I'm not saying the person that hurt you, but you can, when you can look at that person from a neutral space, but just love that you guys get to shift this situation, you can find that you'll switch situations a lot faster. So rewatch this. Your superpower is when you can combine your personal power with spiritual power. When you know that 99%, 95% of the situation, the unknown, the unexpected, like all of that stuff, the illogical, all of that is happening in the spiritual. And when you can decide that, you know, I'm going to do my part, and then I'm trusting that God, universe is going to do its part, you can just watch things shift and change very fast. Let's see. I'm going to rewatch this and absorb everything. This is pure gold. Thank you so much, Christine. You're welcome, Carrie, and everyone else that's joined this. I watch the replay. This is higher level stuff that we've been talking about. And I'm telling you, it has changed my world. I'm actually going and just looking at how I want to change Quantum Queen and what I want to include and how it gets to be for this period of the remaster. And this is a big piece of it because this is what helps me to be that more advanced version of me. And it's what helps me to, you know, manifest very rapidly. It's what helps me to connect to that version of me because I'm letting go of the pieces of me that may want to hold on to grudges or that may believe that I'm a certain way. Things can shift very quickly. Okay, so let's see. Kalinda, yes, we'll be rewatching. Yes, it's super powerful. I can't wait. Put some comments underneath this. If you guys want to see the live, I think on my page, you just go to the lives and you'll see these live videos. And I'll be here again next week, 10 a.m. I love these 30-minute hits because one, it's perfect for the podcast, but two, it's also perfect for just getting a lot, like a good meaty, just bite, trying it, like implementing it, doing it, and then you get to see all the changes that get to happen. So I will see you next week. I look forward to it. Bye.